All right, so we're up in here. We're live.
Checking
the Basshead Diaries Chapter 7 with Ray Pimley. This one's sponsored by Limitless Lithium. I got their link in the website and the caption up there. We'll let some people jump in.
Yep, I'm going to make sure it's on my end. It hasn't shown up yet. Usually there's a little delay.
And also is getting streamed over to my YouTube as well, Lucky Mcgovern. And okay, perfect. And Ray, what is your YouTube? Is it just Jeep and Bass?
It's Jeep and Bass, yeah.
Okay, cool. And your Instagram?
Jeep and Bass.
Jeep and Bass. Just keep it Jeep and Bass, huh?
We're live on my end.
All right, cool. And just so everybody knows, Ray Pimley is the one who started the whole Jeep and Bass. All right, so it looks like we're getting people in here. What's up, Jennifer? What's up, Andy? John? All right, so we got like 16 people in here so far, so we'll go ahead and just get right into it. So what's your name, where you from, and all that good stuff?
Well, I go by Ray, so that's my real name is Raymond, but I mean, I don't go by that one. And then I'm from Northern California, from a little town, and I get around. So I was up in Chico for a long time, and then now I'm trying to relocate kind of closer to Roseville. But yeah, Northern California is where I'm from and where I'm going to stay.
Nice. Okay. And when did you get into car audio? Was it like right off the gate, boom, got your license and got into it type thing? Yeah. Or what? When did you get into car audio?
So I've been thinking about this question all day, and kind of a fun story for me at least. So I was a stupid kid, and I just got my Jeep, and I'm about probably 16 because I had to have been driving by then on my own. But yeah, so 16 years old, and I went to AutoZone, and I'm like probably buying a can of paint or whatever I'm doing because I wanted to, be a stupid kid and clean my Jeep up. And it was a dirt back then, little stock little thing. And I'm in the AutoZone, and I'm checking out, and all of a sudden, everything in the freaking store is shaking. Like, big dude had some slap. And I remember the guys at the counter like, I hate when this guy does this and knocks shit off the shelves. Unimpressionable kid hearing this thing, shaking the building. I'm like, that is the coolest thing. Like, that's
yeah.
And I was hooked. I was like, I got to get me one of those subs. And I started looking it up, and I didn't know anything. And I actually got a used MTX 8000 series 12. It was like, I don't know what it was rated, probably 500 watts, but it was the 8000 series, which everyone talks about like the 9000 or whatever. And I'm like, well, that must be as good. Well, it turned out it wasn't like anywhere near that one, but it was a pretty fun little sub. And I had it in a sealed box, like a prefab on a little amp. And I was online trying to figure stuff out, and I wanted to turn it into a ported box. And this thing was like a cubic foot, so it's not going to be big enough for a ported box. I didn't know. So I had like a piece of PVC pipe, like a 3-inch diameter, and I stuck it in the side of there, and I ported box. Well, it sounded terrible after that. I ditched that really quick, and then, just moved up from there and, started building bigger and bigger. And then I met Frankie Smith late 14 or so. And he opened me up. He's like, dude, this is the equipment I'm running. I have DC audio, and I have this wall build, and it was the first real loud build I've heard. And then from there, we just started doing stuff, and he guided me along for a lot of years. And then I ran into Jeff Vu and everyone else, and Jeff offered me subs, and I've been running his stuff ever since. Did a lot of his testing when he was starting out with the JVF line. So I was going through prototypes and stuff for a long time with him, and it was a lot of fun. So that's kind of like how I got into it. And then I got big-headed at one point, and since then, I think I've grown up to where I see like, hey, if you're doing the competition thing and all that, you don't have to be always winning. It's not about that. It's about going back and making sure you're having fun. And I've been more aware of that lately, and remembering those old stories, like, man, that was a lot more fun then before I got, super involved. It was almost more enjoyable because you didn't have to win all the time. It wasn't about that. And so that's kind of been I've been taking at least the last year or two.
Yeah. So what was the time frame like? So when you started out with your smaller stuff and everything to when you started really messing around with, Jeff Vu, DC and all that stuff, what was the time frame? Did you jump like from this to that like real quick? or was there like a gap in between there?
It was slow at first because I got started. I was probably, I don't know, I think a sophomore in high school. And throughout entire high school and some of the beginning in college, I had basically the same system that I just continued working on.
Mm-hmm.
Louder, and it was two Fosgate HX212s. And I built it several boxes for those same subs in high school and played with it. And it was doing over 148 by the time I was done.
And so you're already metering back then because of Frankie
Smith
and all that?
At the local shop. And it
was okay.
Yeah, it was doing 47s, 48s at the time, and I'm like, whoa, that's a lot louder than I expected because you could go back and find YouTube videos of me with that system and not say it. I think it's a 135, but I don't know. And metering it was doing really well, and so then I was like, whoa, that's cool. And then, that's about the time I think I was a freshman in high school. I ran into Frankie, or not high school, college, because I went to school in the same town he was in. And we ended up meeting, and it was just like weird coincidence. Like, wow, this guy is in the same town, and he's got this wall blazer, and it was really cool. I was totally hooked, and so I'd start hanging out with him all the time. And then James Hayes came in the scene at about that time, and we hung out a lot. And then I think Justin Biddle was around that time too. And for several years, just we were bouncing around through back and forth between James's shop and Frankie's shop, and I was building. And that first year, I was using those 212s in competition, and I was winning and getting second place quite often because it was kind of loud for what it was. It was a 2,000 watt setup. And then
what year was that? What year was that you were doing 2,000 watts?
2015 was when I started to compete with that. I think it was early 2015, just after Autorama.
Okay.
I'd gone to Autorama, but I didn't have the Jeep.
Okay.
So I don't know how elaborate you want me to get into it, but at some point I ran into Jeff, and then he offered me a box to try out because the Jeep was really efficient vehicle. A lot of people know that.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, try this other box. I got these other 12s. Let's go to World Finals. I'm like, cool. So I started testing, and I was going to do Street Stock 2K. And at the same time, I had aspirations to have a really badass demo system. And Frankie was getting rid of his SoundCube 18s to swap over to DC. And he's like, I got this no wall box that was out of my Blazer. I got these subs, $400. You could do this. So what I did that whole rest of the season was I was putting in his box with the 18s, and I'd finally gotten a big amp, a 3.5K, and I was like daily driving that thing around, big old Goliath box. 53. And I'm like, this is insane. But at the same time, I'm trying to get ready for World Finals. This little 212s ported box that fits completely behind the back seat.
Right.
Like basically taking this 18s box out every other week to test the little 212s box. And we finally get up to finals, and and I got third place the first time. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It was only several tenths away from the first place CRXs at the time. They were only doing like 152 at the most. And I was right there scratching 151.5 almost.
Right.
Man, I'm only several tenths away from these CRX guys.
Right.
The next year, everything changed, and everybody got really loud, and now it's just insane. Like these guys doing insane numbers. But right when I caught into the whole competition scene, I was at the very tail end of something that a 20-year-old kid could obtain a championship almost. It was kind of cool, but it's gotten a lot harder now.
So, do you have any championship rings?
No, I've come close too many times, and it's my own fault every time because I'm really good at wanting to be the demo guy, but then wanting to be the winner at the same time. So I'll wait till the very end to put something together, and then 2 weeks to go to finals, and like I can play second place pretty easily, but I never could win because I didn't put extra time other than 2 weeks into it.
Right.
And, so I was really close to a ring in 2017 with my trunk set up, but I only spent 2 weeks on it.
Wow.
Like, dang. So every time it's been my own fault.
Yeah. Right.
I just want to be able to have fun with it.
Yeah, your setup is one of my favorites. I've always loved that thing. I was nervous as hell to get into it the one time that I did. If you remember that, I think I think it was that World Finals when I got into it the first time. Do you remember? I
I
know
don't
that's
remember
where
for sure, but I'm
I
sure
think that's
at that time,
yeah.
probably 2018.
Yeah. And man, that thing got me lightheaded. I was like,
Yeah,
you start
it's
hitting
all
it on
good.
me, man. Man, I said, oh shit. But at that point, I'd already made up my mind I wasn't going to tap out ever again. I don't know if you ever seen the whole Jake Bridges video that floated around of me.
Oh yeah, his was louder than mine though. His is
Yeah, but yours, I don't know. Yours really just sounds good. The bandwidth and everything, like that thing is just, it's a monster. It, like I said, it's one of my favorites, dude. I like Ray My Astis and yours. They just,
yeah, his is awesome.
they sound good. You know what I mean? You hear some that are
Right.
loud, but only in certain, like this couple of frequencies or whatever. Yours got a good bandwidth and it just fucking, it demos so well.
You're
Mike
making me
Del Monte,
sad
same thing. Yeah. What was
because I
that?
tore it out. I tore it out. You're making me sad.
Yeah. Oh, dude, when I seen that, I was like, oh my gosh. But I see that with everybody. You know, I see somebody have a build that I'm just like, shit. If I had that, I'd be done. But I get it now. You know, at first I'm like, you know, fuck, why would you tear that out? But now I get it. It's never
Yeah,
enough. You know, it is for like a week or two, and then you're like, shit, what else can I do? I got to get this louder. So now I get it. But that's till all the people who can financially do that shit. I'm like. I'm where I'm at, but man, the time and testing and money, whoo, yeah, I'm
yeah.
good.
It's
So
a burden, and I look back and I wonder how much I wasted. You know, I'm like, man, how many dollars would I have right now if I hadn't have done that, or if I hadn't had to change that so many times? You
do
know,
you know how many boxes and setups I've went through? I mean, I literally, I've probably just from the time I've been competing, like right before I started competing, I probably went through, and everybody's going to think I'm fucking lying when I say this, probably about 15 boxes. I went through, yeah, I went through a ton of kicker. I went through kicker speakers, everything kicker. I went through the whole like everything hurts audio because I didn't know any better at the time. You know, it was like right before I started competing.
right?
I was just trying to get louder and louder, and then people would tell me, "Oh man, not kicker, go Fosgate, not Fosgate,
I was
go
in that
Hertz."
position for a while.
You know what I mean?
Same
And
thing.
I didn't know nothing. So I'm just
Yeah,
listening to these people and I'm like, okay, fuck it. Rip it all out. Let's put all this in there now. And that box ain't going to work. You should do this box, you know, and each box, I'm paying stereo shops like $500 a pop, you know, and it wasn't until I bumped into Bobby Gately
that's a
that
lot.
I was like, okay. And when I met Bobby Gately, um, actually it was when you were having your doors made. That's
Okay.
when that I walked up to him. I think it was after a show and he was doing your doors and I needed some CA glue because my dust cap came off.
Yep.
And he looked at the box that I had in my truck at the time for my 315s at the time I had. And he goes, and I'm used to paying like, you know, $500 a box or $400 a box, something like that, with the carpet on it and
Yeah,
everything, you
you're
know?
getting that MDF, and it's basically,
Yeah.
you know, can
So
be
he
tuned
goes,
right. I don't know.
yeah, he looks at my box and he goes, you know, if you want me to build you a box, man, I'll build you a box. And I go, well,
Yeah, real box.
what would we be looking at? You know what I mean? And he goes, well, it just depends on what you go with, you know, but probably about $1,500. And I go, holy shit. Like that's a lot of money. Now I understand you get what you pay
It's worth
for.
it.
It's not going to just be some carpeted MDF crappy box. It's going to be, you know, to the specs, you know, it's going to be what
Yeah.
you want. So yeah.
And it's
And
high
you know that as
quality.
well. Yeah. Top
Yeah,
quality, you know, that's what I love.
yeah. I think probably the biggest lesson I've learned after all these years was don't just like go out and buy something at a whim. Like
Right.
actually really know what you want the first time, and if it's more than you can buy right now, scrap
Wait.
for it. I mean,
Yeah.
and I can't count how many wasted dollars I had from getting things that were either not the best quality or I found something that was like, well, this might work, but it turns out it wasn't. If you sit there and you plan out the build a long time, it sucks for those people that can't wait, but the payoff is so much better. And I think that's what happened with the 612 build was I spent a year almost building that thing, and it worked, and it was a great.
Yeah.
I mean, I never built a six order before. I never even designed one, and first thing was beautiful. It just came out and worked. I
Yeah.
had very little edits to do to it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's almost too bad I tore it out. But
Yeah. There's a video I remember seeing. Here I am trying to do like these little hair tricks, You know what I want to be at, like what level I want to be at, and I know if I ever get there, I'm gonna want even more, obviously. But what I want to get to is where you don't have to tell the girl, no, sit this way.
It just does it. Yeah.
It just does it. They get in
Yeah.
the car and you're just like, ready, whang, and then they're
Yep.
going nuts. So I remember seeing a video you had of you and Josie, and she's outside the Jeep, like feet away from it,
Yeah.
and her fucking hair is just going like this, and I'm like, that's the shit that I want right there. That's that shit that I want, you know. And
you could sit anywhere in that vehicle and it would do hair tricks. Like you could sit, or you could sit up front, you could sit outside. It would do it, and that was really fun.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do some cool stuff. Like I kept coming up with an idea. Maybe someone can do this now since I tore mine out. But I wanted to, like during Christmas time, get the elf on the shelf. You know, the little elf on the shelf guy.
No.
You know, you always they're like these like little stuffed doll guy.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know how everyone sees him doing, you put him in pictures of stuff, like he's doing something that it's like a meme thing. But I thought about, well, what if I sat him in the port, you know, and like had this innocent looking video, and then all of a sudden just destroyed this little guy. And like, that might go viral. Like,
yeah,
do that, and it's just all these different ideas, and it never happened. But you know, that thing was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I thought about having like a girl. I mean, it'd have to be worked up, obviously, but a girl in clothes, and then as soon as you just hit it, bang, she's in a bikini. You know what I mean? She's in a bikini or some shit like that. So,
I mean, I can see that stuff going viral, man, if you did it right. You know?
Yeah.
You have to have the right.
Let's see here. So I'm gonna go to the comments right now because there's a bunch of people chiming in here. So, can you see the comments yourself, Ray?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let you grab a couple questions for once. Normally I ask the questions. I'm gonna let you jump in there and see what you And first off, hello everybody that's jumping in here. Appreciate you guys watching and joining in the Basshead Diaries Chapter 7 with Ray Pimley. And yeah, just grab whatever question you got. And
let's see. Someone said I talked about my wood.
Oh, yeah, good old Colton Head.
Yeah, we had a joke earlier about it. I'm like, I can't be talking about my wood on the internet, you know. Referring to the doors, and I love the doors, and they're not going away. And everyone asks me, you know, what are you doing with the doors? I'm like, no, they'll stay. I want to actually clean them up and, you know, make them more presentable because they're a little bit beat up by now. But yeah, Bobby did that, Bobby Gately, and he tells me, and I'm sure you can ask him, it inspired a lot of his new enclosures he's doing under like the truck seat boxes, where they kind of have the contours on the face, you know, how he does the routering and
right.
And that it was inspired was his freehanding on those doors, and he actually had like a grinder and like freehand that stuff.
Yes,
really cool. You know, with the good wood, you can actually like carve whole sections out of it, and
right.
And I think hopefully that was some of his inspiration. Was like after that he realized like I can apply this to other stuff. So those doors were awesome, and I'm not getting rid of them. And yeah. I basically came to him. I was like, look, I want some really nice doors. I'm not quite up to par with the fiberglassing and stuff. I don't have all the time in the world. What can you do? And he's like, I got the best in the world. I'm not going to tell you until I'm done. And he got him on there, and I was like,
oh, wow.
These are going to like go crazy. I just let him have free reign over it. I'm like, I have no preconceptions. I'm going to let you do what you're going to do. And he did that. And
yeah,
changed a lot of his car audio. And I see people mimic that thing so often, and I always think to myself, I'm like, man, you guys, I know you're trying and it's great, but it's not that hard to do it this way and make it look like this. And I think maybe that's why it's so unique, is because no one's figured that out.
Right. Yeah, I remember when I saw him, I was just blown away. And then he was like, yo, and they're magnetic. And I was just like, oh my God, dude, this is insane, dude. Insane.
I, really like it. I think the only thing they don't have is, and we could try to incorporate it, was like LED lighting. I'd like to have on them, but
yeah, it'd be badass.
I don't know what I'm doing with the build right now, so it's not on the list. But
so, what is the Honda? If you want to talk about that, what is that hitting right now? I've seen you post pictures, but I don't know from then to now if anything's changed.
No. As it sits, it does like 48s and some change.
Okay.
Level 3's back in. I was running a pair of level 4s at half ohm, when now I'm at 1 ohm. So it's not as quite much power, but it's still really efficient and loud, and I have a lot of fun. And it's a totally music style setup. Like, it's not a burp box or anything, and almost breaks a 50. I think what I'm going to do is order some recones at some point soon and go to half ohm on the level 3s and see if the efficiency is there to bust a 50 for real. I was really close. I was a tenth off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's in the kick. I mean, on the glass, it's still all right. It does a 47 and some change. So, I mean, it's
okay.
not anything crazy on the glass, but considering it's basically a off-the-shelf box,
right,
vehicle with no electrical upgrades. I have stock alternator. The only thing is a battery, factory battery replacement, and no big three. I don't even have a dedicated ground wire. It just ground into the body. I mean, it's like some things that anyone could obtain for under $2,000 and have a really nice daily setup. Yeah. And that's what Bobby and I wanted to do is just let's do something cool, prove that it works, and help you sell the product and make people happy.
Yeah, definitely.
Eventually, I'm going to do something nicer like SQ, but that's now.
Right. David Bostic said, "Hey, Lucky, I thought you had Sundown subs. I did. I used to when I got. That was actually what I ran when I first started competing. I did run that for a while, and then I switched to DC audio. And I can tell you this much: I don't have anything bad to say. I don't bash brands, anything like that. I got nothing bad to say about Sundown Audio. It was great. I say this a lot because a lot of people always ask me, why did I switch or whatever. I love DC audio. Everything that I was getting in that was just killing it was usually DC audio, and like I said, when I met Rusty Flowers and Anna, Justin Hinkie, the whole crew over there at DC audio, and they're only 3 hours away from my house. Yep. Everything just made sense. You know what I mean? Everything was just, it was meant to be honest with you. And then I was fortunate enough to get on the team, and so I used to run Sundown subs, but now it's all about that DC. So yeah,
a lot of people I've built for started with the Sundowns, and they eventually went DC for various reasons. And I won't throw shade at Sundown because I think they're a really good brand. They got the marketing. They have really good products. Maybe the applications I was using them in weren't the best. I don't know. I've always built the spec, but once we went to the DC, it was like, okay, these subs seem to be doing better for my situation, and the support being right here in the West Coast.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those guys are on top of it all the time. So
yeah,
I'm to be a dealer. I'm a dealer for DC Audio. And I'm here and there, and people can hit me up and get product and all that.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, Rusty's a great guy, man. I love that guy. He probably hates me. There's been a few times that I went up to his shop, and something would be going on with my truck. It could be the simplest little tiny thing, dude. We'd be there like all night till like 12 or 1 in the morning. I had like something that wasn't even his fault. It was like a little switch broke, my little toggle switch, and it broke, and you know what I mean? It's just like one of those things you end up hanging out all day and night. So, but I mean,
what sold me with Rusty was it was with Frankie Smith, because we were getting ready for finals one year, and he blew the subs like 2 days before finals. Like, we were doing some testing and something happened, and it's like, oh, what the heck? And I was going to school at the time, so I'd be in class up until like 2 o'clock or wherever my schedule was. And Frankie hit me up one day. He's like, "Hey, you want to go to Reno?" I'm like, "Why? It's a Wednesday." Like, he's like, "I gotta go get some subs fixed." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Rusty's gonna recon my subs tonight. You come in?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'm coming." So I got out of class and I didn't go the rest of the day. And we drove up to Reno, and that night he had working subs again. It was the same day, and that weekend was finals. And I was like, "Man, this is so cool." It's like kind of like a NASCAR pit crew. It's like when you're ready, get those tires put on, they're ready for you, and there you go. You can go win the race.
Yeah.
And DC Audio was that for us, so that's why we really like them.
Yeah, been there, done that, man. Been there, done that. Where I just drove up, and in one day, just bang, and I'm on my way home. So
Jeff Vu's the same way too. I love what Jeff Vu does, and I have to thank him a million times. I don't think he's watching, but he knows, and I've talked to him at length about just how appreciative, and I see what he does for the community too. So anyone except with Jeff Vu also is fortunate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and a lot of people do run his subs, man. Good guy too.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got.
One saying, "What's up?"
Yeah, what's up?
Life is in here.
Let's see here.
My girlfriend's watching. That's funny.
Kabaya, what's going on? Yeah, so I'm just reading through the comments. I think we both are. If you want to, let's see. Always win base race. Doug, not wasted. Knowledge isn't free. That's Doug Stockton jumping in here.
No, I mean, that's true, but you can definitely waste money. It's for real.
Yeah.
if you do your knowledge through the research, you can save yourself a little bit too.
Yeah.
It's all true. I mean, like, some people just got to learn the hard way, like you and me. Like, you had to go through all that trial and error and wasting of money to learn those things. And I guess my only goal with my YouTube channel, at least from the beginning, was try to help people avoid those pitfalls the first time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you right now, this is the way you got to do it. You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's always a million ways to do the same thing, and people figure that out on their own.
Yeah, so that's good then. So you help people out if, like, you see a new guy coming in and they had questions or whatever, you could stop them from, or you could save them some money. You would be that guy to, hey, try this instead or whatever.
Yeah, in person more than online anymore. Online is
right.
Volatile world. It's vicious, and
yes,
stepping away. I don't get any kicks out of Facebook anymore for the most part. I mean,
yeah,
I think anyone could agree with that for the most part. Is they'll see like someone's asking something innocent because they were in the position you and I were several years ago, and then they just get lambasted over it. It's like,
right.
It doesn't have to be that way. And then you have other people that are claiming these false things. It's like, well, we know that you're not doing that, but you're talking like, you know all this stuff, and it's not true. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, why do I want to help anybody if it's going to be like that? If one person disagrees with my opinion, then it goes haywire, or I just get stuck seeing notifications for a post that's gone crazy, and
yeah.
I'll sit here too and say that I don't know everything, and I don't know if people. I don't think enough people can say that. I definitely don't know. I know just enough to know that I don't know a lot.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about too with that. I see all these groups that I'll go into just periodically and check them out, and these new guys are asking these questions that you or me might go, well, that's a kind of a silly question. But at the same time, it's like, sit back and go, hey, I didn't know that shit then. Like, and then he gets hounded by everybody. Like, you newbie and you this and that and the other. And it's just like, dude, this guy, the group is here for that. Like, I'm asking you guys know this stuff. Like, I'm asking you this. Now you're going to jump all over me because I asked this. How am I supposed to learn?
Right.
So, and now I've also learned not to even get into the comments, because once you do, it's over. You just opened up a can of worms. So, like, if I go in there because there's been times I wanted to say that, like, dude, the guy's asking a legit question. Like, he's asking for help. And then I say, okay, if I even step into this, I'm going to become the next target. Everybody's going to jump all over me. And so I'm just like, you know what? I see some craziness going on. I just get out of it. I'm like, I'm not even going to get involved. Chemo, he said 15. I'm assuming he's talking about my boxes. He's like, 15, that's it? He's like, that's it, LOL. So that was just, so you got to think. So 15 boxes was within probably a year, if that, and then since I've been competing, then I had a guy make me one that swore all these big promises and didn't follow through. From there, I went to Bobby Gately and was very satisfied. And then he built me another one. I think I ended up with 3, maybe 4 boxes from Bobby. And that's my fault, because the questions were there for me in the beginning. What do you want this thing to do? Do you want this thing for burping? Do you want, and I'm like, I want a bit of all of it. I want, demo. I love demoing. I love doing hair tricks. Plus I want it to be loud. You know what I mean? So there you go. And I would gain and it'd do better hair tricks, but then it was like, you want more. And he's like, that's why I was asking you, you know what I mean? Yeah. Now here we go again. But, he builds, amazing boxes. So, what do you do?
I've probably built over 300 boxes in my time that I've been doing this. I mean, a lot for myself, but for other people too. And I've, taken little things to learn from each one. But a lot of boxes to go through, and
Yeah.
I probably had over 40 in the Jeep, just for testing,
Jeez.
just throughout the years. So just different setups. Like, oh, I blew this up. Well, I got this guy who's got an 8 inch. Let me toss it in for a weekend. So some of those, add up quickly. But I've done quite a bit of testing in that, and then now it's on its. I guess it's had two walls in it, and I guess now I'm going back to no wall. If people don't know, I mean, I'm announcing that it's not being walled again for now. I likely get a different vehicle at some point. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess you have to go through a lot of those trials and errors if you want
Yeah.
to do something great. And then there's your other guy who's happy with it for 10 years and never wanted to change it. So I'm trying to learn.
Right.
Right.
I think like Brian Nyman, I think he's had the same exact setup. If I'm not mistaken, he told me for like 12 years or something in that
Right.
ballpark. He's never messed with nothing at all,
Yeah.
but all he
Yeah.
does is
No,
base
several
race.
people.
Yeah, he
Yep.
just base races. You know what I mean? So on that level, it's safe because you can't go wrong. You know what I mean? You're not trying to. Oh, I want to do 149 class. I mean, you can, but you know what I mean. He's not trying
Yeah.
to like demo crazy or nothing. So, if that was your route is to like, hey, I'm gonna base racer top dog. I could see somebody getting a system and being just cool with that. But
Right.
like
Yeah.
guys like us, I love demoing and competing. So I gotta have best of both worlds. I have so many people that are like, 318s, 10,000 watts. You should be doing way higher numbers. And I'm like, it's pro stock
Not how it
and
works.
it's not right.
I mean,
Right.
look at the
It's not.
vehicle. The vehicles aren't known to be that loud. You're fighting
Yes.
the vehicle all the time. You put the same system in my Jeep, then it's a whole different game.
Right.
So
Right.
that one bugs me because people are like, "Well, you got a cheater car." I'm like, "How? I mean, there's mine. Like, what about? Like every car, and plus, I haven't only built in the Jeep before. I've built in all kind of stuff, and it's always been like, well, that's a cheater car now. I'm like, it wasn't yesterday,
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
and like that was my sixth gen Honda was like, no, those are kind of loud, but they've never been proven. Even Terry Brox told me, he's like, I've never seen numbers like you're doing out of a sixth gen Civic. The 2000 or 96 and 2000, I think, are the years. And he's like, they're just not used. That body style, I didn't know. And I made it work and I did something with it. And people are like, well, it's a Honda. I'm like, well, this body style isn't the same thing as you're thinking of. Like the older Civics that are using, that you see these guys doing 60 down the trunk now, it's like, I was able to prove that body style could do something, but it took a lot of work.
Right.
It's not like I just went out and got a cheater car. But
Yeah.
I don't know, people
Yeah.
have weird ideas sometimes about things.
Right. Let's see. Shane Collier. Just a little shout out to him real quick. That's who actually made all my SPL Junkie merchandise. Oh, as far as the hats and shirts and stuff like that. He said, Chris Panay, I'm hoping I said it right, is super happy with Ray Pimley's designs.
Yeah, been
Let's
doing a
see.
lot for him.
There's a guy in Chicagoland that builds boxes that have been destroying shit. He's really known with World Finals. You're building killer ass shit. Okay. Cyclone Baby Doug Stockton says, Anthony Caps, Brian Nyman does baby hair tricks. Yeah, it's fun going back to some of my first beginning videos, seeing
Oh
like when I
man,
was trying. Oh gosh, dude,
I
seeing like the
know.
little baby hair tricks, and you. Oh man, I seen some guy, and I had to stop myself the other day because I became that guy for like 2 seconds. I seen this guy post a video up, and he's like finally doing hair tricks, and the girl's hair's going,
Barely.
and I'm like, oh shit, I just did it. I just did what I said I hate, and I was like,
Yep,
fuck it, good shit,
I'm guilty.
man, good shit,
I'm
man.
guilty.
You'll move up, and then you'll see. So I had to catch myself on that one, and
I will say though, I did my first hair trick, like legit hair trick, with the 212s. It did like
wow,
one hair trick, and there's a video
yeah,
somewhere, and that was a cool day for me because I'm like that wasn't supposed to happen, and it was pretty.
yeah,
I mean, it had her hair like from here to here. She had short hair, but it was legit hair trick.
yeah,
Like when I see
yeah,
I think what gets me the most excited is seeing little baby builds doing what big builds can do, and
yeah,
I've always tried to be that guy. It's like I'm gonna come here and have the least amount of cone area. I mean, 612s. The only advantage I have is motor force.
yeah,
I'm not doing anything like 3 or 4 18s. I was under 10,000 watts for a long time, and it was out there doing things, and people are impressed. And I'm like, that's the kind of build I like the most, is one that's using the least amount of equipment to do the biggest job.
Right.
I'll see people and I'll tell them like, man, this thing's efficient, this thing's working well, and those are my favorite. Now, of course, the big ones are fun in their own way, but there's something about just having very little and doing a lot.
Yeah, for sure. That's like when I would go burp, and like we was just talking about, mine's not a burp box, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'd hit like I think now I'm gonna find out my true numbers coming up. I got 2 Cyber 12Ks coming Wednesday from Limitless Lithium because my 100-hour went out, so they sent me those. And because what was going on is I was testing, and my numbers were just going from a 153.9 to a 152 something to a 153.5. They were just all over the place, And then I found out
wrong. Yeah.
I'm like, dude, what the fuck? So we're chasing everything we can, and then all of a sudden the battery just went completely out.
Yep.
Which could happen. And see, that totally went wrong in a post that I put up. I put this post up and I said, fuck, I'm out of a system. My Limitless went out. And people thought I was bashing Limitless.
Exactly.
And now the people were having my back, and they were like, man, they need to take care of you as much as you represent this and that. And I go, no, I'm not bashing.
You all took it wrong. I've had that.
I'm just saying that it went out and I won't have no base. They are taking care of me. I got 2 Cyber 12Ks coming out, which are the new shit. And so it's not like that. And I ended up I just deleted the post because it got out of hand. It was people having my back, but at the same time, I appreciate that. But at the same time, it was like, you guys are reading this and not actually knowing what's going on. So I just deleted it. So I'll know my real numbers Wednesday or Thursday. Then I'll know what I'm really hitting. But yeah, because I was going all over the place, man. But anyway, back to my point is I pull into the lanes and do, I don't know, let's just say a 153, at the time or something. And I see somebody pull into the lane with like, 500 watts, or 1,000 watts and hit a 154 or something. And I just like, oh my God,
How's that possible?
Yeah, like that's no, I got 10,000 watts. You can't do that. And then I learned, like it's all just in skill of building and all the other stuff that goes along with it.
Yeah, and then you exchange things. I mean, obviously those guys aren't going to be demoing much. I mean,
exactly.
Done right.
Yeah.
Newbies are like always confused about that, and it's like, well, what's the point of that? I'm like, well, I mean, it's like two sides of the same thing, And it's weird that our culture out here has really shifted to the demo scene big time.
Yeah. Yes.
Caught on with that after being really hooked on SPL, but I don't know. SPL is weird now because you got all these guys that are so loud and they're so on top, and they have so much like available to them to do it. I'm not even saying that they're given anything or they're getting sponsoring. I'm just saying that they have the shop space and they have the time usually, and they have that extra knowledge from doing it forever. And then notice that they'll be on these really close knit teams.
Yeah.
So they're getting a lot done. Like there's guys right now doing the no wall record. Like holy crap! Like he's got this full team backing him, and he's doing all this stuff all the time, and that's really awesome. But like I guess what I'm talking about is the Astrovan. Like a lot of people are like, man, that thing's kind of a failure in a way because it never got that loud. I'm like, I know. I got up to 167 and some change, but we continue running into issues with it all the time, and we couldn't figure it out. And I don't have enough knowledge at that level of competition. Like there's so many different things that happen at that volume with that much power, and it's a huge learning curve. And I don't have the time, and we don't have the team, we don't have the financial backing to really push that thing. And I think it could do better, but I've barely put any test time in that box, and there's nowhere you can test the thing because it's so loud. And
right,
you're trying to test it at that power, you're generally blowing stuff up, so you've got to have all the stuff on deck. So it's like the impossible task for two guys, especially like Craig works even more than me. He's always gone. So like if I get any time with the van, I'm by myself, to do everything on that van. And so we decided that we're kind of with the whole SPL scene and everything where it is, it's like it's not fun to be chasing after this huge goal when you can't even get off the finish line or the start line with the thing. It's like it's so impossible. So what we decided is we're going to turn it into a demo vehicle.
Oh
It is
wow.
now, and we're going to make it the loudest demo vehicle we can out here. I know that there's several people building some crazy stuff right now,
Yes, there is.
like that big steel, hearse. But
Yes, yes.
what we want to do is want to build the loudest, most choking out, painful vehicle we possibly can with the stock cabin for now, until we
Yeah.
really destroy it to the point where we have to turn it to extreme. But I'd like to see 165s on music, like just straight up all day. So we're going to do that with it. And I think that's going to be more fun. We got burnt out with the SPL thing because it's not that rewarding when you're going through that much equipment and yeah, you're winning local shows, but you get out to the World Finals like we did, and we lost 3 subs at once. 165 on 1 sub.
Yeah.
We're like, well, that's still good, but everyone shit on us after that over there online. They're like, just you guys are losers. I'm like, what do you mean? We never even came out to we never talked about anyone. We never talked about beating anyone. Why do we deserve such criticism? It's because I think it's just a funky culture now with the competition, and I don't know what to make of that. So we're like, all right, demo build, here we go. So not this year at Surf, but like next year at Surf and next year at Vegas, we'll be bringing that out and just having tons of fun with it. And that's what we want to do now.
I think that'll be rad. Who's the one that was at CES? Oh man, he was choking everybody out. I mean, everybody
that watched. Car?
No, he had the van. Okay. He had a van.
The extreme van, right?
Yeah.
Like I forget his name, like Chris
Rodriguez, something Rodriguez maybe.
Yeah, Carlos. Yeah.
There you go. Ooh, that thing was nasty, dude.
Yeah, I've never wanted to get in that.
Everybody that got into that thing except Ben Barnett with the hearse, we're just saying right now. But Ben Barnett got in there and sat there and took it, never tapped out. And I was just like, holy shit, dude.
That's insane.
But that van, people were getting in there either on passenger side or driver and take a few seconds and was like, can't take it.
Yeah, so, I'm really excited about Ben's build though. If I had to say anything that I'm really looking forward to this year with Carter, it was his build.
Absolutely.
I don't know if he's watching or not, but if you
I think he's got 10,000. I think he's got like 10,000 amp hours in lithium or something.
Yeah, it's insane. That's why I'm like, you know what? I'm not walling again because I can't. I can't keep up with that stuff. I'm doing other stuff now. I'm gonna do a no wall and have more fun and let those guys worry about recones.
Yeah. Let's see here. You want to check out these questions or you want me to get in here? Dave Snyder says he's got mad love for Frankie Smith. Yeah, Frankie Smith is a cool motherfucker, man. I went against him in Top Dogger Base. OG, man. Yeah, Top Dogger Base race. I was just talking about that in one of my interviews too, man, is I went against him and everybody's like, you're going against a world champion right now, right? Like multiple.
Yeah, he was out for 2 years. He hadn't even done that for 2 years, and he just rolls in
in a rental car.
Everybody, man.
Like, fuck. And but I beat him, but then I screwed up because I never got to a point where, like I told Doug, I go, okay, so I'm above everybody in the points. I got him, and he goes, just don't tie. You don't let him tie you, and he knows, right?
I didn't.
So what I thought he meant was, and I'm repeating myself now. I said this in the last video that Frankie Smith came up. What I thought he meant was as long as I didn't tie him in a 9.9 class. So if I'm doing 139.9
anywhere,
and he's doing, So I go like this. I go, fuck it. I'm gonna just go to like a 139.6. You know what I mean? And just stay right there. And
Frankie knows he was like, I'm turning down. I'm going to go chase him down.
Yeah. So he just watched and just went to the 29.6 and just stood there. And I go, cool, I got him, and, so I think I got him. And they go, winner, Frankie. And I go, what the fuck are they talking about?
What happened?
And he goes, he tied you. He got you. And I go, Frankie opens his door and he's like, dude, I created this fucking game, this and that. Well, now I know next time if I get to that position, I'm going to just be like this with my knob, just all over the place, like, catch me, sucker. But so.
If you're in the lead, that's how you want to play it.
Yeah, he's definitely knows his shit. So let's see.
He's awesome.
What do we got here?
Going on about Frankie.
Chemo said float the elf. Travis Hostetter said 55 plus. Happy Ray talked about his wood. Colton Hudnell from Crystal Audio Solutions. David Bostic, love you guys. Appreciate that, man. Roman said, I remember that 212's box. What we got in here?
Yeah, he's been around forever. I met him around like 2014 or 15. That was a lot of fun, and I got a video of him going in at what's his name? It was Extreme Build. I forget his name now. Justin Yeo's Extreme van, which is now I think up in Washington, the black one with the 618s. I forget who owns it now. But that thing back in the day was like the loudest thing I've ever heard. And I got in there and I demoed it, and it killed me. And then he got in there, and like I'm getting video, and he turns it up, and it blows snot out of his nose, like shoots straight up. That is so fucking awesome. Like that was
so some of the things that I've seen, and it's funny you say that because I got in one time. I can't remember whose vehicle it was. It could have been Jake's, yours. I don't know whose vehicle it was, but I got in one and it did the same thing, but mine luckily didn't shoot out or nothing. I was able to do the whole like whoa, shit. Yeah, you know, so I remember telling my wife one for her first, actually it was in your truck that I told her, I go, hey, go like that real good right now. You know what I mean? Or that shit's gonna just fly out your nose, you know? So I've seen some crazy shit, man. My buddy, after I did my demo in Jake Bridges' truck and tapped out, I told my buddy, I go, hey, you got to get in this. Made his tooth fall out and he swallowed it.
Holy crap.
Yeah, dude. And it's on video. Like, he's
I remember hearing about that.
He's cringing like this. And you could, after he says it, because you could see him going like this. And then all of a sudden he's like pointing like this. And he's pointing like this. And everybody's like, what the fuck? And then he turns the music off and he goes, my tooth came out. I swallowed it. So then when the video came out, I rewind it and you could watch him and he goes and swallows it. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh,
dude.
man.
Fucking
That's
swallowed
funny.
his tooth. Yeah. So
that's funny.
Doug said held in place by magnets. I'm assuming he was talking about your doors.
Yeah, it's probably old.
Okay.
Yeah.
So good question. Are you going Yinlong or C-Max, Ray? That's Andy Jarrett right there.
I keep switching. I was going to do a full limitless setup when I had all the room.
Mm-hmm.
I was really set on like doing some stupid wall in that thing. And then I tore it all out and I'm like, I kind of miss this thing not being walled. And I'm not as heavy into it right now. Maybe it's better I don't wall it. So then I'm like, okay, well, I want to fit a no wall box, but I think I want to have a back seat again. So I got to fit everything in the back now. I'm talking at least 10,000 watts because I got all the stuff for it. But I got to fit electrical. So I had the limitless, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think this thing is going to form factor into my space. So what I'm looking at right now are the Yinlongs. Or
excess power Yinlongs.
Whenever I can get them, you know. I've been talking to Ben about the lithium, and he was telling me what I need to do. And I guess my only pitfall is I don't have quite enough voltage for those. I guess I don't charge. They need 15 volts or so to charge. But I think they work on a little less, so I'm going to go for it. I'm going to get at least 80 amp hour, maybe 160 amp hour, and they'll fit with the no wall setup, and hopefully build something that's decently loud still. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay. We got Bola North Highlands. Can you both see my comments? And that's coming off of the YouTube.
Yeah, I saw his earlier.
Okay, David Bostic, I can. There's Scythe Morrison is actually in the house. Scythe Morrison from Stockton, my hometown, born and raised. Yeah, that's the homie. Let's see. Actually, since I'm on his right now, the next Basshead Diaries Chapter 8 is going to be with Scythe Morrison next Friday at 3 p.m. Yeah, so we've been. Man. Yeah.
I was just going to tell you about Scythe.
Go ahead.
Well, I didn't really know him. I still don't know him that much other than Facebook, but his was some of the first music I ever played. I was in high school playing his stuff. It was like the first bass music I ever came across.
So what year was that? Because he came out like 2011, I believe, was his...
yeah, it was probably 2012.
I believe it was 2011, 2012.
I don't think it was his very first album. It was Diamond in the Mud.
I'm in the mud.
That one, I think everyone knows that one, but
Yeah.
that's I got hooked on Siphon really early on. And I've had all the stuff since. And Steve Mead's always like giving me a copy of the album every time I go to the shop. He's like, "Oh, this is Siphon's new album." I'm like, "Sweet, I'm gonna bang it."
Same thing. I went to Steve
Yeah.
Mead's shop one time, dude, and he was just like,
He's like,
you know,
"Albums,
yeah,
take them, man. Like, you want some?" He's like, "You want a half gallon of resin, or like you want this fuse holder?" And I'm like, "Man, Steve, I mean, I love having all this stuff, but I don't feel like I need to pay you." And he's like, "Dude, don't even worry about it."
Steve Mead, man, and
You got those big fuse blocks now that light up, and you get all this custom
yeah.
for me. So, like, all that is the same topic to me. Those guys.
Yeah.
All,
Right. I've always showed Steve love. I think for the most part, all the OGs in this started out watching his videos, all the pulling up to the drive-through windows. And It's funny because I started mimicking him when I got into this and like doing it. Now I don't ever do that shit because, I've knocked trays off of, when you go up to have the soda machine right here and stuff. And I knocked the tray off on a girl one time and got fucking yelled at. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing this shit no more. But yeah, Steve's a cool motherfucker, man. Yeah, I went to a shop and they actually hooked me up with a custom bridge block and a fuse block as well. I don't know if you saw it on live feed or his post.
Yeah,
the white one with the
right.
Yeah, dude, just fucking cool, fucking. He
does
dude,
really
man.
good stuff. And I've had a lot of his older stuff too, and he's always been cool about like, hey, I got a newer version. I want you to swap it out. Like, I don't want anybody to see the old one anymore. I'm like, all right.
And that's
like,
and that's what it was with me as well. He wanted it to match the piggy bank. He's like, we'll do it white, and this is the newest shit right here. And so so I can't wait to put the bridge block in there. I did the fuse block in the front, but so yeah, and just a little shout out for Sife Morrison. You could get any of his music on all music platforms.
It all bumps.
It knocks. It knocks. Let me tell you. So let's see here. If you want to read some of these questions, if you see anything that grabs your eye.
Well, I'm towards the bottom, and Anthony Caps wants to know about the 218s wall I had. So that was my first wall back several years ago now. Probably, I think I built that late 2016. I don't know what you want to know about it, but that was the one I broke 160 with for the first time. I think I was telling you this morning about it. So you know the scenario, Lucky. But we did. I think I got up to 162.2 on the glass and 164.2 in the kick on 2 9Ks. It was a fun build because it was doing really good in the lanes at the time. That was pretty loud for a 1-2 build, but I could demo the thing. And I basically had a port sleeve that I would slide into the wall, and I would tune it down to a demo level, and demo the crap out of that thing. So I remember doing world finals and I placed second because that's what I always did. I would be that close to the ring, but I placed second in Extreme 5K when they used to allow like more regular vehicles in that class before they made it where you actually had to have the windshield and everything. But I don't even know if a 5K is around anymore, but Extreme 5K, and I did like about a 60 in that class with the setup, so it was efficient. Then like right after that, I'm giving hair tricks.
Yeah.
Really fun build, but I was limited because it was only 2 subs and I just kept blowing them up on that much power. And I was like, well, now I want to build something more musical, more coils. And then I basically tore the front and back off that same wall. Most of that shell was reused for the 6th order, and that was what I had for years up until now.
So I got, let's see here. David Bosick said, talk about alternator and lithium. So I don't understand. Talk about alternator and lithium.
I hate the question. I literally hate the question about alternators. Everyone asks me about alternators night and day, and it's my pet. And I don't answer people, and I'm kind of a dick about that. I don't know why, but I don't know anything about alternators. I literally hit up JS Alternators because they wanted to sponsor it. And I'm like, I need 2 alternators. I want them self-excite. I don't want to deal with them. I don't want anything. Just I want to bolt on. And they sent me that, and that's what I've been running for years. And everyone asked me, like, well, how did you do the bracket? I'm like, well, I fabricated it because that's what you got to do. I mean, you got to get the welder out. And like, well, how do I do that? I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
It looks like, man, like, I can't help you. And I don't know anything about regulators. I mean, I know enough to be like, if I got an external regulator, then I had more options and do stuff. But people ask me as if I know all this stuff. I'm like, why don't you ask the company that
Right, right.
I
Yeah, so
don't know
he's
how to answer your question correctly? And it's a pet peeve. It's the same thing
yeah.
like when someone asks what song. I'm like,
Right, right. You don't know the
dude,
system,
I'm
you
not
can't
going to
tell a
go all
person the
day through
song.
the comments and try to respond to that. I can't,
Yeah,
Maybe I'm a dick in that sense, but
yeah.
your question bugs me.
He also said, how many lithium batteries will a 320 amp hour or 300? Let's see if I'm reading this right. How many lithium batteries will a 300 amp hour alternator charge for a 15,000 watt build?
You probably want more than 300 amps,
Yeah,
but if
15,000
you, I
watts.
guess you would at least need over 100 amp hours to support that. Thinking that you have decent charging behind it. I mean, you probably get away with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, it's that whole alternator thing. I'm like, I don't know. I normally say, it's about 100 amps of charging for 1,000 watts.
Yeah, I got two
World.
370 Mcgovern's, and then I had the 100-hour limitless. When I tried to throw the 20K in there, it needed more than that. Let's see here, what we got. What was the sixth order tuned to? Andy Jarrett said.
Rear was 24, front was 48 or so, depending on what phase I was in. Like I changed the port a couple times, but basically just one octave above the rear chamber. Normally what I do.
Now, okay, so you said you've been competing for 6 years.
Yeah.
About how do you know roughly how many shows you've been to, or what's the furthest show you've gone to? I see it, bro. I see it, and
I
it's
don't know.
such.
There's so many in the room that you can't see, but they're on the floor and everything. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I've probably done easily over 100 shows.
yeah. I at one point, which I got more now, but at one point when I used to do the whole drunken giveaways of SPL junkie stuff, that was one of the questions. Is I had to go through and count all my trophies and then all my certificates, and this is after only competing, I think, a year, if even that. But I had I think 111 trophies and something like 20 certificates, because go to chemo shows you get certificates.
Yep.
But I was going to every fucking show. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? From Lincoln City, Oregon, Surf City, Lakeport, and then all the way out to Vegas, CES, and everywhere in between. A couple of times I've done 2 shows in a day.
Yeah.
So what's
Yeah.
the
Me too.
furthest show? Yeah, what's the furthest show you've gone to? Farthest, furthest, or
Vegas, I think.
Vegas?
Yeah.
And going the opposite way, I would assume Surf City then.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I've never
It was
done.
all in the Jeep. I drove the thing, pack up and take a 160 build up, 1,000 miles, no problem.
Yeah, that's how mine is. Mine's a daily
Yep.
driver, and I've driven that thing to every show, and yeah, same thing. Vegas and back, like no problem, and
Yep.
Lincoln City, Oregon, twice, no problem. Let's see here. Tyler Bailey, he said Carlos. Oh, I think he was
Yeah. We
talking
were
about
talking
when I was
about the
asking
van.
about the van. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tyler Bailey's with the Low Hearts Car Audio. Just remember the old phrase, haters will hate, but you're still a fan. So thank you. Chester Johnson said,
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Michael Powell, thoughts on Daniel Powell fitting 14 NSV 4.5s in a Suburban tuned to 18.5 hertz.
The only thing I can say is that thing is going to be insane because everything he does is insane. That dude is something else. Like I see him, like I don't even know how many builds he's working on at once. Like because I see stuff all the time. I'm like, wait, I thought you were building this, but then he's building something else. And
Right.
like, that's the one thing I could envy if I had that kind of motivation and time. Build like he does.
So Shabby or Chabby Cash, I'm gonna assume Shabby, I guess. It's a bad idea. Is it a bad idea to mix match subs in the same box? Yes.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, because
Yes.
they're going to be different on subs. I mean, look, if you want to do it, go ahead. I mean, it's going to do something, but it's not going to be right. You're not going to have your one sub's going to respond differently than the other, and it's not going to be perfect, especially if, for instance, one was like a single voice coil sub versus like a dual
One's
voice.
a dual.
Like random impedances happening.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make it work. It all works. And I've actually picked up in more recent years of putting odd numbers of woofers with even numbers of amps and vice versa, where you can split an amp among more than one or two coils. You could go 3 coil, 4 coil, and there's tons of wiring options. And so I might even do a video at some point, like showing people like there's so many options you can do. I mean, I'm sitting here. I was going through like a 912 build or a 615 build in the Jeep. Like I had all these ideas. I'm like, well, how many amps could I do? I could run 4 amps on 912s. Well, that would work out, or whatever I was coming up with, And people are always confused about how you wire that stuff. It's like it's not that bad, but you do need to have it explained and see it maybe on a picture. But
Right.
yeah.
We got Brian PB in here, says, "What's up, fellas? Love y'all's videos. Learn a whole gang of shit from you guys. Keep it up. Thank you." So we're coming up on an hour. So before I go, if you had any advice for a new guy coming into the scene that wanted to compete, what would that advice be from you? What would you tell a new guy?
Specifically compete or just be in car audio?
Compete.
Like if you was like set to go win a trophy. Don't let those guys intimidate you. Don't let anyone intimidate you. When you get in there, don't expect to win, but don't expect to lose either. Have confidence in what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, then there's usually going to be someone you can ask. You definitely want to know what's up before you jump in the lane. I see people get in there and they'll have their phone and they'll be hitting pause and the track is on and it's a song and they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what my peak is. And everyone else, the perspective is like, well, you should know this frequency or at least have test tones and then we'll help you find it at least. And know what it is. And as people get all wound up, it's like you could, number one, be a little bit more prepared. If you can be, like if you don't know, then you don't know. But if you spend some time online before you go, it's always smart. Try to figure out a little bit of what's going on before you go. And then when you don't get intimidated by those guys.
Yeah. And that was my thing too, is a lot of people don't know it, but I have bad social anxiety. I played it off really well. And people think because I do these live feeds. Yeah, people think because I do these live feeds, like I'm just some really, really sociable guy. I just play it off well. But to be honest, like when I'm talking to people, I do these live feeds, like I'm the. But so when I went to compete, my heart was drilling. And it was exactly it. I was intimidated as shit. Not like physically, but just like, oh my God, I'm out of my realm or whatever. But like, my thing with new guys is definitely come to the shows, watch what's going on, and don't be afraid to get in there because nobody's going to laugh at you. Nobody's in a shit on you. For the most part, I would say 98% of the people there will show you what's going on. There are a few people that are really secretive and all that, but I've noticed that even them, they won't hate on you or whatever, because we've all been there. We've all been that nervous guy, the first handful of shows, like, oh shit. But that'll go away and it'll become fun. And now it's just anxious and not fear, And, that's where I'm at with it now. When I first started, I was being recorded by so many people at finals. I had only been competing for a few months and I made it to finals and I had to play outside the truck and people already knew. They're like, watch this, dude. He's going to be losing his shit. So I had people recording because I was holding the bass knob and I couldn't even hold my hands steady, but then it comes to a point where you just show up and then it's just fun, and that's what I had a lot of. Go ahead.
I think if anything, it's the people who are the loudest are the ones that should be more intimidated by the backlash of it, because new people they're all super intimidated about like, well, if I'm not loud enough, these guys aren't going to be nice to me. It's like, no, it's actually the opposite. They'll be nice to you because you're not a threat to them winning.
Yeah, you're not a threat, right?
In my position all the time, it's like, dude, like, what the heck? You're so loud. Like, why you must have cheated or you must have done this or like, oh, you got so much money. And it's like, dude, I kind of want to be the little guy again.
Right.
Like no one
Yeah.
was hard on it. But,
Yeah. But yeah, any new guys, man, because I'm definitely trying to get more people get involved with DB Drag and
yeah.
definitely trying to bring the new guys in. Every time I see somebody new at a show and you can spot them a mile away, you know, I try to tell them, like, don't be nervous, just get in there, you know. And I've been successful quite a few times, not bragging, but I've been successful quite a few times with getting people just go up there. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
just do it.
Kimo or Doug will walk you through this. They're not going to pull you into the lane and you're supposed to know everything. Sure, it would definitely help if you YouTube some stuff or go to a show without the intent of competing and just watch and ask questions. But a lot of people do just show up in their
Yeah, I just
car that
want
they
to know
have
what
a
my car
system.
does. Yeah.
And so they will walk you through it. They're going to answer your questions. They're going to show you how it's done. And that's the best thing you could do. And I've seen a lot of guys listen to me and go up there and win or just do well, you know. And then I've seen some guys where their nerves, they just get the best of them and they back out and they don't come back. So I'm trying to get more people involved. We definitely need a lot more people, and hopefully that'll bring finals back to, you know, the West Coast.
Yeah.
That's
And one thing I wanted to add is don't get stuck on one organization either.
right.
Ayaska and Mecca and USAC are really fun, and we could get them out there. Ayaska, I mean, the owner who just bought it, I know him pretty well, and he's like really itching to get down into California. And we have so many people that don't participate whenever the shows. I've sponsored a lot of the Ayaska shows, and it's like, come on, there's like 100 people doing DB Drag, and no one wanted to do Ayaska, and they're very similar. And there's nothing wrong with doing DB Drag, but like maybe do the other try out one too. You know, because we have that as an option. So
yeah, absolutely.
So I recommend keep your options open. So
yeah, because you might like Ayaska or the other orgs better. You might like DB Drag, but yeah, just more people in general to get involved. You know, because I'll tell you this, in my opinion, it's really, really, really fun. It's addictive, and the people are great. There's always going to be a few bad people in anything in life that you do. But I'll tell you, in the Basshead community is the best community that I've been involved with. Hands
the West
down.
Coast community for sure.
Yeah.
I noticed like people up in Washington, Oregon, and that's why I bring up Ayaska, because I feel like those people were kind of family in a way. Surf City is the best example of that, and I feel more comfortable with most of those people than anyone probably else in the whole country. I don't know, but
yeah.
Culture is nice up here, and I assume probably back east it's going to be similar to that. But I know there's more competition, and maybe it's different. But that's just my experience out here. So
yeah, great people. I got a lot of love for the whole Basshead community, man. I'm glad that, you know, it is what it is. Going to shows, you know, I've been to several shows and people just, you know, there might be 10 people in one room, you know what I mean? And your system messes up. You got people there that are going to help you. It's not like a lot of people do think, you know, they assume certain things. It's Basshead community, Basshead for life, man. I love it. But, so I think we'll go ahead and end it there. I want to thank you for being a part of it. And
we had a few questions, but I mean,
if you want to answer some questions, questions right now, go ahead and have at it.
Well, it's just real quickly, and then we can wrap up real quick. Because I saw some that were interesting.
I'm in no hurry, so
I feel bad because David has been asking questions and we haven't been getting to any of them. I was going to get quick. He asked about getting so loud with so low wattage. Just don't get it. Well, basically, it's efficiency. I try to make it short, but basically, you can get loud with efficiency by matching the peak of, you know, what your subwoofer enclosure does. You know, the peak frequency that you meter is matching what the vehicle resonates at. It's matching what the subwoofer can resonate at. All these things all come together and you make something really efficient. And it's kind of like something you don't design necessarily, but it's something you test for and you try things for. And but you, like I said earlier, you give up on something to gain something. So if you want to be really loud on the meter, you're typically giving up a lot of your musicality.
Your music, yeah.
So, I mean, that's just in short. There's so much to it, and I've dabbled for a lot of years and tried and failed and won and lost. And but
Yeah.
so,
And what David was that? Was that David Bostic that asked that, or
yeah, he's been asking
okay?
stuff for the whole thing. So I thought I'd give him one real quick, and then I see Bobby said hi. So we're about to say bye, Bobby.
Tyler Bailey, Frankie and I tied for like 5 minutes one time at a Nyman night show. Yeah, man. I'll tell you what, dude. I love base racing or top dog with like Nyman, Alpine. Let's see, who am I forgetting here? Because I know I'm going to forget a couple, and I love every time we pull in lane. I'm just like, this is going to be a fucking rad one. We're going to tie.
Yeah.
Justin Hinkey, me and Frankie Smith went at it. Brian Nyman, Jesus, Alpine. Who am I missing? Angelo
Hey,
Trujillo is really good.
I'll go against you this year. How's that sound? I'm gonna come down.
Awesome.
I'll do 39.9.
Nice. Hell yeah. I love it, dude.
Let's do that.
Who else is it? I know there's one other person that when they pull in, I just know it's going to be a fucking riot. I'm trying to remember. Oh man, I'm not going to remember the person. Damn it, that sucks. But there's a few guys that we pull in the lanes, and it's just like, this is going to be a fucking good show.
Base race is fun. I don't do enough of it, but I'm going to try to start doing it more.
Yeah, to me, base race and top dog, that's the fun shit to me, man. It's real, that's where it takes, it's like a game.
I'm actually decent at it too. I just don't do it much, and then I get nervous really quickly. So then I'm bad. Like I'll qualify really well, and then I'll come to eliminations and just start choking.
Yeah.
Until there's another person. But
let's see here. Let's see.
I think we got most of them. Sam said, "I love Ray. Love you, Sam."
Right?
Yeah, dude. I don't know if you still got it, but you had a cool Jeep. It was loud. You like lifted it and stuff. Big old rims. I got love for all the Jeep guys because we're all in it. We got all the similar vehicle.
Right. Don Hammond said, "Hey, sexy. You got to be more specific. There's two of us in here, man."
He's probably talking about you.
Thanks, guys. Let's see. Dave Bostic said, "Thanks, guys. Be safe. I'm coming to check y'all out." Good. Bobby Gately said, "What are you putting in the Jeep?" What are you putting in the? There it is.
I got all kind of ideas. It's definitely going to be no wall right now. Behind the back seat for a while, and I got 612s, and I can't fit 6, but I can fit 4 if I face them all up and the port up in the back and like just use every inch I have. But that's kind of going to be a big box and all that, so I might probably do 3. See 312s what they'll do, but I'm kind of excited about just being able to like start testing small enclosures and maybe making more videos about just trying different stuff out. And because with the wall you're kind of stuck. You only get to really work on that one setup.
Yeah. Right.
That'll be nice.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Once again, thank you guys for joining in. Next Friday, I believe it's 3 p.m. I'll be doing the Basshead Diaries Chapter 7 with Syfe Morrison. You guys make sure and check that out. Thanks to all my sponsors. And thank you, Ray Penley. I appreciate it. This episode was sponsored by Limitless Lithium. I got a little link in the caption. You can check out their stuff. And I think that's about it. All right, Ray.
Thanks, everyone.
Talking to you, buddy, and I'll see you another time, man.
Cool. All right, guys. See you later.
We're out.